Now, I think that we could all agree here that The Marvels is a true embarrassment not just for Disney and CEO Bob Iger, but also for Kevin Feige over at Marvel Studios and even some of the cast and crew attached to this film that actually has proven itself to be one of the worst MCU movies, if not the worst one of all time in the overall roadmap. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, we know that Bob Iger is heading and has been heading into endless damage control for this film, really trying to find any kind of avenue that he can to string along the customers or those that follow Disney or the shareholders to really giving this movie a chance, to purchasing a ticket and checking it out. Now, this is when you know that Disney's getting very desperate. They know that they have had box office failure one after the other throughout all of 2023 for the most part. Even their saving grace, Wish, which by the way is a new animated film coming out in just a couple of days, that movie too could very well fail at the box office, and if it does, Disney would have failed at the box office in all departments of their films. So what's really interesting about this has a lot to do with Bob Iger's perspective of the fan backlash, the criticism, the current box office situation, the financial status of the Marvels and where it's heading. This is really, at the end of the day, a Disney problem. They invested way too much money in this movie. They should have really expected that this movie was not going to perform as well as they thought it would. And if they wanted to, they could have dialed back on the funds that were going into the marketing as well into this film. Now, what's interesting about that is that with Bob Iger currently heading into endless damage control for the Marvels, one crucial development has much to do with his desperate attempt to keep the film afloat as it continues to fail. Now, Bob Iger was able to deliver the following to Marvel fans. We here at Disney have noticed multiple claims about the direction of our latest installment into the Marvel Universe, with our hit new film, The Marvels. As CEO, I believe it's my responsibility to make it openly clear and widely available to everyone, and to reassure our customers and common moviegoers that we value art over ideology, and that our film, The Marvels, holds no agenda behind it. We have noticed many trades and media outlets, along with a handful of our customers, getting the wrong idea about our direction with this film. We are not about any kind of culture war when it involves our films, especially this one, as we push to put out pure entertainment for our fans and those of families out there, and new fans alike strictly. As for the performance of our latest Marvel film, we feel that the trades and outlets are greatly over-exaggerating the satisfaction levels of this installment, and that type of word of mouth is only hindering our success. This film, by our wonderful director Nia DaCosta, is a film that we created for both men and women, and catering this film toward women strictly is simply not true and a misconception about the direction of this film. We hold no favoritism with this film for women over men, and that's not what we are about here at Disney. We push for equality on all fronts, and that's our motive with Marvel films and television. As for the performance of our latest installment, we ask for everyone to go into this with an open mind and let the product speak for itself, as we have noticed an uptick in a wild misconception about our motive with this film by many trades that's only preventing us from reaching our customers properly. Now guys, let me just pause here for 1 second. Now, we know that Bob Iger is going to do whatever he can, he's going to say whatever he has to say to get people into the theater seats, to get any amount of butts in seats to see this movie, to at least make it somewhat doable at the box office, because right now it is a massive flop to the point where it's a true embarrassment for Disney on all fronts. We know that Bob Iger is really trying to just kind of string along the shareholders into this. That's the main purpose behind all of this damage control. It's to keep the shareholders in line, with Bob Iger leading the way about what's looming for 2024 and beyond, with many upcoming Marvel releases. As you know, Deadpool 3, where it stands right now, is going to be the only Marvel film by Disney in 2024. The rest got delayed until 2025, and it's just going to be a big mess for them in the long run. So what's interesting about that is that Bob Iger really is trying to make it seem like that there's no agenda in this film, that this film was not catered toward women over men specifically, when you have people like BRIE LARSON and Nia DaCosta literally admitting to that. So now you have multiple people saying different things. It's just a big mess, and it makes you wonder, does Bob Iger even know that Nia and BRIE confirmed that that was the direction by Disney to value this movie toward women over men? I'm not quite sure if he actually picked that up, because this just goes to show you that he's either aware of that and is fully lying, or he's just completely unaware that the stars and the creators of this film really unveiled the truth about this movie and the motives and the agendas behind all of it. So moving onwards, he goes on to elaborate further. Alright, this is a film that was catered toward families and everyone equally, and we hold no agenda strategy with this product of ours. We are all about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we see absolutely nothing wrong with that as well to be inserted into our projects. So basically, guys, Bob Iger is saying there's no agenda, but yes, there is an agenda. We have great plans to continue, he says, our usage of that in future projects by Mr. Feige, with our new and upcoming films and streaming projects for Disney Plus that we will also be excited to announce in the coming months for those that have invested their time with our direction of the Marvel Universe. As for The Marvels and its performance, we expect a performance increase within the next week, as this film receives an increase in promotion in various ways to reach those that may be interested in a new original story for this current phase. Now, we know that the next phase of Marvel movies is going to be also a disaster, where it stands right now at least. Now, we know that given there's a lot of reshoots happening for Captain America 4, Brave New World, and that's going to be toward the tail end of this current phase as well. And that's another prime example that Marvel Studios and Disney have no clue what they are doing with this overall approach to the MCU. Even Blade is getting massive, rewrites and reshoots as we speak to kind of change the overall direction of the story. And initially they wanted to make that all female led as well. So what's interesting about that is that Disney needs to just wake up, make better stories, focus more so on just writing good stories to tell. And I've said this before in the last post, but I don't believe that there's a real superhero fatigue per se. I think people would definitely love to see endless amounts of superhero films, only if they're written very well and they have no agenda-driven tactics behind it. That's how it works. I think that before the last couple of Marvel films, in fact the last handful of Marvel films, a lot of people were very engaged with what the MCU was doing and what, Disney was doing with their Marvel universe, so to speak. So anyway, I think that at the end of the day, Kevin Feige and other examples out there like Nia DaCosta, they just don't get it. Bob Iger doesn't get it, and they will never admit that it's their fault at the same exact time. So overall, I would love to hear your take on this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.